listening to Donnie Success Champions, where I believe everybody is on a journey. Life is all about the stories you can tell and teach later. You're going to hear the stories of people who have overcome hardships, failures, and life to find success along their journey. Hey guys, it's Fridays with Donnie, and I love doing these as always. They're a lot of fun. And in this episode, I'm going to talk about how one post I put out on social media freaked my mom out. And it's a story all about, how I found ownership in my life and how when I went to visit my mom, she yelled at me and told me I couldn't put a post out like that again. So enjoy the ride, guys. It's going to be a fun one. So here's the situation. I walked into my mom's house and she looked at me and she said, "I thought somebody died." And I said, "What?" She goes, "You put a post out and I saw it, and the first thing I thought of is one of your baby goats died." And so just so you know, we literally just had 2 kids born on the farm, this week as this show airs. A little boy, a little girl, and we thought she was going to go a little bit longer carrying him. So I was kind of surprised that I walked out into the pasture and whoop, there's the baby. So got them wrangled up. They're both healthy as all get out. So it was that same time that I put this post out. And, so my mom thought that I'd lost one of the baby goats, which we didn't. They're healthy. They're awesome. And we got some more on the way that we're excited to bring in. These are the first, goats we've ever had born on the farm. We've had goats for a while, but this is the first time we've had, our own babies born on the farm. So it's pretty exciting. But so here's the post I put out. And the first line of the post says this: "Everything is my fault." And my mom didn't get any further than that statement, but she in her mind was seeing worst case scenario. And worst case scenario at that point was we'd lost one of the baby goats. And the post goes on to, really putting down, how I define what ownership is. And, for me, ownership is really, it is all my fault. I mean, it's, if I win, it's because I did the right things. If I lose, it's because I did the wrong things, and taking that aspect and applying it to all portions of my life. I put out another social piece not too long ago that got some really, really mixed responses. It was very, very interesting. So I put out the post that, if your life sucks, it's because you suck. And that really seemed to rub some people the wrong way and the right way. It was very, very split. I mean, there was no middle ground on that one. You either embraced that quote or you didn't. And here's the interesting thing for me about that is however you take that phrase, if your life sucks, your business sucks, you suck, is it's all about how do you look at your aspects of life. Once people really embrace that they choose a lot of their past. Now look, I'm not saying that somebody who had a tragic thing happen to them as a kid, those type of things, or, some of the bad, horrible things that happen in life. I'm not saying those are all your fault, but I'm saying that if you don't embrace it to move forward and get very specifically focused on you and your journey, then you're going to choose to let that, continue to bring you down. And I really believe this. If my life sucks, if my company sucks, if my world sucks, my marriage sucks, that's all my fault because it's on me to create the life that I want to create, and if something tragic happens in my life and it hits me harder than it should, it's because I didn't do the things before to make sure that whenever that tragedy struck, as horrible as it may be, that I was mentally prepared to handle the aftermath. And, there's some really shitty things that happen in this world. And, I'm not telling you that if your life sucks, that you suck. I'm telling you that's the choice I make in my life, that's what I embrace. But I do think the world is selfish. I think the world's a little vain. I think, people are sitting around waiting for life to happen to them, and they're not really putting in any effort. They're not really going for it. They're not really trying to find themselves, shaking things up and trying to create a world. And I can attribute that a lot to, the employee mindset. I mean, the employee mindset for me is, you show up to your job when you're supposed to. You go home when the end of the day is there, and you clock out, and you get a paycheck, and that consistent money comes in all the time. And God, there's nothing wrong with that lifestyle. But that lifestyle is going to keep people exactly where they are. And once again, there's nothing wrong with being where you are. But when you start over internalizing that you're not where you want to be in life, and that you should just have it, that it should just come to you, that you should, already be accomplishing these major things, and you haven't done the work, you're being selfish. You're being vain. The world is not going to be handed to you. You've got to go through the things and do those things that will help you get your life to the level you want it. I mean, a lot of people, myself included, we're oftentimes looking at the world with, rose-colored glasses on, if you will, like everything's sunshine and rainbows. And we're envisioning ourselves to these great and awesome places when we're still sitting, they're doing absolutely nothing and expecting, all kinds of results. Life doesn't work that way. If you want a great life, then you have to go create it or embrace it. You've got to create it, which means you got to go do the things that you need to be doing to grow yourself, grow your business, grow your job, enhance yourself, upgrade, level up, and evolve. Or you embrace the life that you have and start living within your means and get comfortable in that world, because the more you daydream about this life you want and don't take action to make it happen, the more you just constantly create this state of misery. So I know my company, if it's not where I need it to be, it's because I'm not doing all the things that I need to be doing to grow my business. I know if my life, my income, my everything is not at the level it needs to be, it's because I'm not doing all the things that need to be done. Thank God I've got an awesome wife and a great marriage. But if it sucked as well, then, dude, that's on me. I can't expect her to create an awesome marriage. I believe that marriage is 100% on me. It's 100% on her too, right? But I've got to hold up my end of the bargain. If it sucks, it's because I'm not doing what I need to be doing to make sure that it's right and life is good. And here's the truth is, your suck might be lack of knowledge of how to make it better. So if your business sucks, go get a damn business coach to help you, do your business better. If your life sucks, go get a life coach to help you get your life right. If your marriage sucks, go get a marriage sucks. If this marriage sucks, go get a marriage coach. If your sex life sucks, go get a sex coach. I mean, coaches aren't the answer for everybody or everything, but they will shortcut the path and give you at least direction. And sometimes all people need is direction to go, and they're off to the races. you've got to realize that you've got to go through it to become it. You've got to go through the hard times and the bad times and the good times and the love times, because if you don't choose to go through it, then you're never going to become it. I put out another post that says the champion chooses the trials. And, here's what I mean is I think every day you've got a choice to go for it or not. And I think oftentimes people are choosing to not go for it. They're not becoming that champion of their own life. They're not becoming, the person who wants to stand out in front and says, I will fight this battle for all. They are, choosing to stay back in the masses. And, when I came up with this entire concept of success champion, it was all around that you've got to be the champion of your success. You've got to be the guy that when you look at yourself, realizing that you're going to be called on time and time again to go out and defend your way of life and defend your path and defend your own personal crusade. And when you get stacked up against it and the choices, win or go home, you've got to be the person that steps out for yourself out front of your own personal army and challenges that competitor of self-doubt and fear and all the things that are holding you back, and go to war with them and really go to battle with them. Because if you don't champion you, nobody is going to champion you. And, what's funny is people think, a lot of things about their personal champion. They think a lot about, that maybe their champion's not strong enough. Maybe it's not good enough. Maybe it's not, badass enough or whatever else. But dude, when you champion you, nobody can stop that. Nobody can beat that, right? They may knock you to your knees a couple times, right? They may knock you all the way to the ground, but a champion gets back up. A champion keeps pushing forward. A champion keeps hitting, and a champion keeps scrapping and keeps moving and keeps going for it. A champion doesn't go, we'll live to fight another day. No, a champion's like, screw that. We're fighting until it's over, right? And we'll keep pushing forward. And, a lot of people, they haven't put their champion in the ring, enough. They haven't put their champion out front. They're too busy sitting back waiting for somebody else to come along and make their life easier. I mean, I had a conversation with a guy the other day about my own company saying, this is what I really need for my business is somebody to help me kind of wrap my head around, this whole thing so I can, focus and grow. Right? Here's the truth. I need to wrap my own damn head around this whole thing, and then delegate out those things that, maybe aren't my strengths. It's not about somebody coming in and telling me how to do my own damn business. It's at that moment, I wasn't putting my champion up front. I was, sitting back on my ass wanting somebody to figure out my problems for me. And that never works, right? You've got to step into it. And, there's too many times in my life where I wasn't championing my own life. I wasn't championing who I was. And it cost me because nobody can be your champion. Nobody wants to be your champion. There's a lot of people that want to do good things for you. There's a lot of people that want to, help you out. But nobody can go through the trials for you. Nobody can go through the learning for you. You've got to do that yourself, and you've got to put yourself in a frame of mind that, you've got to go through it to become it. And look, you're not going to be a 500-degree black belt and championing your life until you've got knocked on your ass several times and kept moving forward. You've got to realize that your success and your failures are on you. And what we want to do is instead of putting our champion out front, we want to put our, excuse dude out front, whatever you want to call him, maybe your excuse squire out front, and, like he's waiting to suit up somebody else. And I think that that's, a really valid point is oftentimes people are, putting out their excuses out front. And that's literally like you're being a squire in your life, holding the suit of armor, waiting for your champion to show up. And look, your champion's not going to show up. You have to take the reins of your life and build it and go through it so that you can learn what you need to learn to level up and move forward. Because, look, more people get a kick out of you failing than succeeding. Because in their life, their life sucks. They've not gone forward. They've not pushed forward. They've not done the things they need to do to make their life awesome. So it's easier if they see somebody else failing because it makes them feel good about themselves, right? It makes them feel good that they haven't gone for it, and your failures make them validate their non-champion of their life, they're non-going for it. And so when they use their excuses about why they don't go for it, and they see your screw ups and failures, they're like, see, that proves my point. And what they don't realize is your screw ups and failures is you just sharpening the sword, you polishing that armor, and you stepping back into that ring, getting ready to go another damn round. Because you're callousing the mind, you're sharpening the skills, and you're becoming a bigger, better badass by stepping into it and going for it. While they're sitting back and letting life pass them by. And this is what happens to a lot of people. Small successes that they've had are blown up into bigger things. So they've got their traditional 10% raise. They've gotten their micro growth. They've gotten, a small promotion here and there. And they feel like they've crushed it in life. But then in the back of their mind, they can't figure out why they're so damn miserable, why they're not, constantly up in their game. And it's because at some point of them knows that they should be going bigger and louder in life, and they should be getting after it, but they're choosing to go down this other path and, using traditional excuses of, oh, that won't work, that's not good enough, that takes too much time, blah, blah, blah. And they're letting the world tell them if they're good enough. And I love the concept that I get to talk about a lot of times on stage. And people are walking around the world with that price tag on their chest, constantly asking people, please, write on my price tag, how much I'm worth. And it's crazy because nobody can tell you your worth. Nobody can tell you your value. Only you can. And look, your champion is only going to rise to the level of your own belief system. And if you believe you suck, your champion's going to suck. You've got to believe that you're in the game. You've got to believe that you deserve to be there. And you've got to believe that you're going to have to train your ass off by doing things and learning things and doing new things. I mean, I know I often struggle with, my employee mindset because, as an employee mindset, you find somebody who can do what you need to be have done inside of a company, and you brainstorm it, you create it, and then somebody takes ownership of it and runs it. And, oftentimes you can learn to skate around taking the responsibility on projects by making sure somebody else does it. In business ownership, you don't get that luxury. You have got to be the person. And I think a lot of times when I've looked at outsourcing to vendors and everything else, in my mind, I'm like, oh, sweet, that's off my plate. I don't have to worry about it. They're going to handle it. And I think that's a lot of times the reason, some of the clients and companies I've worked with haven't worked out is, once again, it's my fault because you can't pass off your business. right? You can't pass off your company. You've got to step into it and learn it so you can move forward. And you're going to be amazed when you really start taking ownership of your life, that your world gets a little easier. I'm not saying it's easy, but when you realize that success is your fault the same as failure is, and you realize that, you either go for it or you don't, when you realize that all of that comes down to, what you put into it, now you can see the fruits of your labor. You can see what's working and what's not working and make adjustments, towards the whole and keep growing. Hey guys, it's Donnie here, and I just want to let you know that we've recently launched a content development company, and this company helps people get social content. You need to put out a lot of content nowadays to get engagement out there in all your social platforms. Well, we've come up with a really cool way to help you get videos, blog posts, memes, social posters, and infographics for whatever social site you need. So check us out at successchamps.us and learn more about how you can get social content for your social media.
Support for this podcast comes from Point Blank Safety Services and Blue Family Fund. Point Blank Safety Services does safety differently. We know everyone is on a journey, and we want to make sure you get where you're going safely. Professional, trained, ready. There's really no comparison. Here's why hiring Point Blank Safety for your next project will make all the difference and save you huge amounts of stress and hassle. Point Blank Safety Services provides certified, uniformed police officers for a full suite of armed guard services. Don't leave the safety of your project to chance. If you're ready to make sure safety truly comes first for your next project, then visit us at pointblanksafety.com.
You can't become the champion of your life by just reading books, by just attending conferences. I mean, guys, I've got journals for days, notes from months of conferences and things that I've attended that I never employed, because in the flash of brilliance that you get at those type of things, it's an emotionally charged thing until you go back and actually execute what you put out there. Then you can't take ownership of your life because you're so stuck on chasing these rabbits, chasing these shiny objects, and all the craziness of your business. So when you start, really looking at the world that its success and failure is your fault, it's your deal, it's your thing, I'm telling you, the universe shows up and says hello, because now it knows that it's playing with somebody who's trying to champion, it's your own life. And, it will constantly put the things in front of you that you need to learn to go to the next level. I mean, I've spent money on, certain vendors, thousands of dollars, on this journey that never came to fruition, due to a number of factors, all which lie with me, but I could sit back and go, okay, well, that was a $2,000 blown, which I've said, all in all honesty, but looking back, realizing that I didn't blow $2,000. I learned the lesson I needed to learn, so I don't do that shit again. Unfortunately, that's made me, gun shy in working with certain types of people and certain types of companies. But it's also told me to slow down on pulling the trigger on projects and make sure that things I'm doing are not, me chasing an emotionally charged decision for my business, and finding something that fits all the way into an overall cohesive plan. Because all too often I haven't championed my business and wanted to be the guy out front, hacking down the bushes, carving a path. My employee mindset trying to change a business owner is always trying to find the shortcut around the learning. And I have to constantly remind myself there is no shortcut to the learning. I've got to go through it. I have got to learn it. I have got to embrace it, and I've got to keep on, going, and my mind doesn't always buy into this philosophy, and it's something I have to constantly tell myself is, dude, you got to do this. You can't put this on anybody else. That's the regiment. That's the discipline. You've got to be the champion in your life. But as you continue to move into it and realize that everything is your responsibility, everything is your fault, then you're still going to go through it. It's just things aren't going to be as bad as they were before. I mean, it's this whole stupid idea is if you do what you love, you'll never work a day in your life. That is such bullshit, because I do what I love. I love speaking on stages. I love podcasting. I love coaching. I love all that. But if you want to believe that I don't work my ass off to make that happen, you're fucking crazy. Because here's the truth. Is there's certain things that I got to do every day in my business that if I don't, my business doesn't grow. And they're shitty. They suck. I don't want to do some of the things that I must do, but I'm going to do them because that's what gets me to do what I want to do. That's what gets me to do what I love to do, and allows me to do it bigger, and allows me to do it louder, and allows me to continue doing it again and again and again and again. And, so you're going to still go through it. Doing whatever you're passionate about, at some point for most people, doing just that will become a job, and it won't become fun anymore. So, do something passionately, do something you can get behind, because the reason everybody tells you to chase your damn passion is because when you're stacked up against it and going through it, you better have a reason to be there, because at some point in your life, your business, your everything, you're going to have to make some tough decisions of whether you plow forward or you shut it down, or you keep going forward or you shut up. And I'm telling you, if you're not passionately doing something you enjoy, something you love, then when you get stacked up against it, your champion's going to say, yeah, nah, I'm out. And you're going to turn the shit off, and it's not going to work. It's not going to go for it. It's not going to be, what you thought it would be. And, back to this whole champion chooses the trial things. Choose to go through it. Don't hem and haw and bitch and moan that it sucks, that you got to do all those things. Choose to jump in the fire and step into it and go, because, look, nobody else is fighting this battle for you. Nobody else can. It is on you, and you've got to be the one that chooses to move forward and keep pushing forward. Anytime that you feel like you can outsource your growth, your thought process, you haven't gotten to that point where you've learned what needs to be learned. I don't know. It's crazy how often that, I've got to battle with my own thoughts about what it means to be a business owner, because there's often times that I'm finding myself doing employee-like tasks. And guys, just so you know, I'm not being derogatory towards employees. I'm merely talking about my own mindsets of where I've lived most of my life and career. And it's a huge shift to make that leap, because as an employee, you don't have to take responsibility, right? It's somebody else's fault. It's somebody else screwed up. Somebody else did, whatever. And in that situation, you should take ownership. But unfortunately, corporate American society will tell you to not take ownership of it because you'll lose your damn job. And, which makes it almost impossible to, thrive in an environment like that. I'm learning that one of the great things about being a champion in your life is, dude, I think they're in a full suit of armor. And what makes a champion so badass is they pull that visor down on their helm and they can see just a very thin slit out that visor. And when they're going through it, it's the thin slit that they're seeing through, and they're focused on going through it and learning and getting through it. And then the great thing is when they get to the end of that battle, that learning process, that whatever, they kick the visor up, they scan the horizon, they see the masses of armies in front of them they got to tackle and take on. They get a vision that they're going to step in front and go. And they pull their visor down and they get after it again, right? That's what it means by everything is your fault. That's what it means by championing your own life. It means choosing to go in to battle and choosing to become just this badass that is inside of you, waiting to be unleashed. And I tell you that as you continue to step into your champion and become the success champion of your life, it's going to get fun. It's going to get gnarly, and you're going to learn a ton. And you're going to be amazed at what happens to not your life, but not just your life. I mean, to your family, to your career, your company, to everything you're working on when you become your own champion. And this has been a huge lesson for me, because I really think that on my journey, I was trying to make other people champions, both of my life, but also to be that person that I could walk in their shadow because I was propping them up so big. But also I was trying to find other people to champion my life, and, with the thought processes of, well, the company's not doing this, or, this isn't working and that's why I'm not good enough, or because I was raised this way, I don't know how to do that, or, and it was excuse city. And those excuses became my soldier out front, my person doing the fighting for me, versus me pulling out this champion that's inside of me and unleashing his ass on the world and realizing that, if my life sucked, it's because at that point I sucked, right? I chose every direction and path that I went down. That's on me, right? That's completely on me. And the more I embraced that, the greater life became. So, if you take anything away from this episode, it's really about, you stepping into life and knowing that wherever you are, you've probably coasted. You've probably used your excuse guys out front and not chosen to put the champion of your life out front and gone for it. It's okay. You're now in a spot to where acknowledgement's a good portion of the battle. Now we just got to get to work. And that's where, creating a regiment, creating a process, creating traps for yourself, and creating things that allow you to continually step in and do it, your life will become so much more fulfilled and so much, better, simply because you're embracing that you've got to go through it to become it. And it's fun, guys. In my business, I'm starting to see a lot of cool successes, a lot more speaking engagements, a lot more higher profile guests on the show, clients coming in. Things are absolutely churning and getting fun. I mean, they really are. And the trick with it all, it's because I've chosen the trials. It's because I've chosen to go through it and learn a lot of these things that have kicked my ass for many, many years. And every day I'm getting a little bit better and I'm growing just a little bit more. So, man, choose the trials, become your own champion of your life, and step into it and watch what happens when you take complete ownership of everything you do. So I hope this episode helped you out, guys. It was a lot of fun to put on, and I always love talking about this kind of stuff. So keep rising and grinding, and I'll tell you, make sure you're hanging out in one of the Facebook groups, the one that goes along with this show, which is called Donnie Success Champions. Come find that one on Facebook. Come hang out in the podcast group where we teach podcasting, and So You Want a Podcast. Stand by for some cool ebooks coming down the pipes. Jackass Journal is always out there on DonnieBoivin.com. You can take a strengths test on DonnieBoivin.com. And you can download a worksheet, talking about playing defense in your life. So go to DonnieBoivin.com/downloads to catch all those type of things. And those are all free. But come hang out, man, and thank you. And keep sending the emails to Donnie@DonnieBoivin.com, because your messages and words are just beautiful to me, and I really, really appreciate it. Keep rocking, guys. Go big and loud and keep blowing some shit up. Later. Thanks for listening to Donnie Success Champions podcast. If you'd like to hear more about our current guest today, or if you'd like to hear stories from our other guests on the show, come hang out with us on our website at successchampspodcast.com. I really appreciate you tuning in. If you need to reach out to me for any reason, you can catch me at Donnie@DonnieBoivin.com.